Good morning. I am Dr. A. Kalai Selvi. Today I present the topic Model Based Expert System. That is, human expert is an extremely complex amalgamation of theoretical knowledge, experience based problem solving heuristics, example of past problems and their solutions, perceptual and interpretive skills, and other abilities that are so poorly understood that we can only describe them as intuition. Through years of experience, human experts develop very powerful rules for dealing with commonly encountered situations. These rules are often highly compiled, taking the form of direct associations between observable symptoms and final diagnosis, and hiding their more deeply explanation foundations. For example, mycin is one of the example of the expert system. It would propose a diagnosis based on such observable symptoms as headaches, nausea, or high fever. Although these parameters can be indicative of an illness, rules that link them directly to a diagnosis do not reflect any deeper, that is, casual understanding of human psychology. Mycin, these are rules that indicate the results of an infection but do not explain its causes. That is, a more deeply explanation approach would detect the presence of infecting agents that notes the resulting inflammation of cell linking, the presence of intercranial pressures, and infer the causal connections to the observed symptoms of headaches, elevated temperatures, and nausea. That is, then the next one is qualitative model. That is, model based is one of the subdivision is qualitative model based. A description of each component is the device. These description can simulate the behavior of the component. A description of the device is an internal structure. This is typically a representation of its components and their interconnections. It takes along with the ability to simulate the components interactions. That is, it extends of knowledge of internal structure that record depends on the level of abstraction applied and the diagnosis need. That is, the internal structure depends on the level of abstraction applied and the diagnosis desired. Then the diagnosis of a particular problem requires the observations of the device actual performance. That is, the measurement of its input and the output, or the input output measurements are easiest to obtain. That is, but in fact any measures could be used. The advantage of model based is the ability to use functional or structural knowledge of the domain in that is the problem solving. This increases the reasoner's ability to handle a variety of problems. This includes those that may not have been anticipated by the system's designers. That is one of the advantages. The model-based reasoner tends to be very robust for the same reasons that humans often retreat to first principles when confronted with a novel problem. That is, model-based reasoners tends to be thorough and flexible problem solvers. The second one is some knowledge is transferable between the tasks. Model-based reasoners are often built using scientific, theoretical and the theoretical knowledge. because science strives for generally applicable theories. Their generality often extends to model-based reasoners. That is, scientific reasons are applied for general structure of the model-based reasoners. Then the next one is model-based reasoners can provide casual explanations. These can convey a deeper understanding of the fault to human users and can also play an important tutorial role. Then some of the disadvantages of the model-based expert system. A lack of experimental knowledge base of domain. The heuristic methods used by rule-based approaches reflects a valuable class of expertise. That is one of the disadvantages. It requires an explicit domain model. There is many domains such as the diagnosis of failures in electronic circuit have a strong scientific basis that supports model-based approaches. However, many domains such as some medical specialties, some design problems, or many financial applications lack a well-defined scientific theory. Model-based approaches cannot be used in such case. Therefore, it is one of the disadvantages. Then the next one is high complexity. Model-based reasoning generally operates at a level of details that leads to significant complexity. That is, after all, one of the main reasons human experts have developed heuristic in the first place. Okay. Then the next advantage is exceptional situation. Unusual circumstances, for example, bridging fault or the interaction of multiple failures in electronic components can alter the functionality of the system in ways difficult to predict using a priori model. Thank you.